If I could have seen where God was going to take me from that really dark moment to where I am now, I would almost do the dark moment again, like just to be where I am now. That's spiritually and in all aspects. So
that's awesome.
So yeah, it's just, hard times will always get better.
The Lord sees me, period. And that is enough. And it's not in my own strength. It's not because I slayed today, kept these kids fed with all the healthy food. We shopped organic, we paid the bills, we did it's just, my checklist was not fulfilling. Does that make sense? And so it's just that heart posture of humility before the Lord. And like Bethany was saying, well, this is what God has called us to. And who am I to feel like, well, I deserve to be out there.
Hey everyone, I'm Jennifer and welcome to In the Middle. Today we have co-host Nicole Smith, we have Kristin Goldschmeding, and then we have two amazing guests. You probably know their husbands, stars of Dude Perfect, but they are stars themselves. We have Kristin Hilbert and we have Bethany Toney. Kristen here wrote the book Good Night, Dude Perfect, which we'll talk more about that. She is a homeschool mom. And then Bethany here is a worship leader, entrepreneur, and much more. So we're going to talk, I'm sure, a little about Dude Perfect, but we want to know more about them and what is that life like. So ladies, welcome to In the Middle.
Thank you.
This is so fun. Okay, we want to talk about how did y'all meet. Let's talk about the beginning, because this is about y'all, but we want to know about becoming a Dude Perfect wife. Like, where did y'all come from and then connect?
Yeah, so sure. Well, Garrett and I are high school sweethearts, so we actually met at church on a mission trip. And then, it's been 20 years later. So,
wow. There's more. All right. So
fill in the gaps.
I've known Kristen since high school as well. Yep. We were actually suite mates at Ouachita Baptist University for our freshman year. Yep. And then Kristen transferred to A&M. She followed Garrett. She was so in love.
It's true.
So
I spent 15 years denying that, but I went for Garrett.
She's like, I didn't. It was for academic reasons.
And it was just more fun. There's more to do.
That's true.
But then there's Garrett.
And then
he was
Okay, and so that's how y'all met. And then how did you meet Tyler?
I actually met Tyler in high school as well, but we didn't date. I met him on the way back from a beach camp trip with our church. And it was really my friend that pointed him out and said, who's that guy? And I was like, I don't know. I didn't really care at the time. And so then they kind of buddied up. And I was the third wheel friend that would just hang out with them.
No.
And then we just stayed friends throughout college. And then my senior year, Tyler's junior year at A&M, it was really unromantic. It was like, hey, we should try this. We've dated all each other's friends. Should we give this a try? And then a year later, we were engaged. And now we've been married 12 or 13 years. I can't remember now. And have 3 boys, so.
Wow. Okay. So being an author and then being an entrepreneur, was that something always that you were aspiring to be before getting married?
I think my dad has a very entrepreneur spirit. And so I feel like I've always kind of had that in me. Right after I had Barrett, I kind of felt this weird pull to do something that was outside of being a mom because, as you know, it consumes you 24/7. You're a mom. I was a new mom, and I just needed a creative outlet. And so I actually started baking cookies. Went to a cookie class, was really bad at it, and had insomnia that comes with having a newborn, and just kind of got fixated on it. And then I started a full-blown cookie business after that. And then I've done several other things, but that's kind of been my main side gig.
Feeding the creative soul.
Yeah. I was an art major, and I just needed something creative to do, and that just kind of filled that gap for me. So that's what I have.
Well, okay, so transitioning into, you're dating these guys, then you are getting married. Dude Perfect obviously wasn't what it was today. So I want to talk about, and I want to hear from y'all too, being wives, they were at home a lot more when y'all got married at the beginning. So what has life been like transitioning, being a wife with your husband now getting not just busy and traveling, but famous and just all the things. Let's dive in and talk about that.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say, like, it's definitely picked up over time, but there's seasons where ebbs and flows. We were just saying, this is our first summer in 4 years to be home together as a family and not be on the road on tour. So we're so grateful for all the travel that we get to go on with them. But yeah, I would say, like, right after we got married, it was shortly after that, they were gone at the Olympics. So it's always been since we've been married. But thankfully we got to kind of ease into that a little bit prior to having kids. So we kind of got in that rhythm of like, okay, you're going to be gone, but you'll be home on the weekends. And then Bethany and I were there before they went full time. And so when we were dating and then newlyweds, they were gone on the weekends working, and Garrett was getting his master's during the week. So whenever they transitioned to full time and they were just traveling on the weekend or during the week, it was like, oh, this is actually better because we get you on the weekends.
Right. Yeah. Tyler worked in landscaping, and so his crew would go out at like 5:45 in the morning, and then they were hard workers and they worked until 8. So he's almost home more now than he was when he worked in his landscaping job. Just because, and then because on the weekends, they would tell brands, hey, we're really booked on the week with other Dude Perfect stuff. We can only book you on the weekends, when in reality, they all had full-time jobs. So when they went full-time, it was scary, but it wasn't, I don't know, we met with Tyler's granddad, and because he was kind of our money guy, and I was like, can we do this financially? Mm-hmm. He was like, yeah, I think y'all can. So I gave Tyler a year. I don't know.
Yeah,
that was kind of our thing. I was like, hey, we are still in the green after a year, and I can still feed my dog. Mm-hmm. It's food. We're we can do this. But yeah, it was a little nerve-wracking just having your husband come home and say, hey, we're going to do like YouTube full time, and you're kind of going, okay, like, we didn't know anyone else that was in that space, so it was it was a little scary, but God was just so faithful, and like doors kind of opened up for them, and so it was affirming that this is definitely what God, the path that He wants them to be on, and so that was comforting for me to know like that God had a hand in it all. But
I know that when you take those we call them calculated risks, right?
Yeah.
I remember thinking when I was living in the UK and we were deciding whether or not to move here, closer to family, or move back to South Africa, understand that sense of peace. When you step out in faith, you can go forward and make those decisions with that peace because you know that God has definitely had a hand in it.
For sure.
Yes. 100%.
So with a lot of people, if you haven't, they have an I Am Second video, and a lot of people obviously have seen it.
Yes.
So let's kind of talk about that, because I'm sure obviously each marriage is different, but each dynamic of the ebbs and flows have been different. But let's talk about yours of the navigating that stuff. And then if y'all were here first, then I know you and I spoke earlier about like being able to help some of the newer wives that come on and all of that. So let's kind of talk about that.
Yeah, we filmed our I Am Second video. Gosh, it's been
3 years?
Yeah, it's been a while now. Which that was like when you were saying, oh, what building did you film that in? I was like, it was a blur. I don't remember half that day at all. But yeah, I just felt so strongly that we needed to talk about the fact that our marriage went through a really dark time, because so many people see us on Instagram and they see us in Dude Perfect videos, and they may assume, oh man, these girls and these families have it together. And I just got really convicted that it's not that way for a lot of families, and it's not that way for us. And I think every marriage goes through some dark times, and so I just felt like really strongly that this was something that we needed to do. And I think it was nerve-wracking for sure. I mean, I don't think...
Was that the most open you'd been?
Oh yeah, I mean, I went into it thinking, okay, this is gonna be fine, and I hit the white chair that you see in all the videos, and I just got a wave of like, oh no, what am I doing? Like, is this the right move? Is this too much? I'm such an open book that I'm like, sometimes do I need to reel it back a little bit? But then it's been so cool to see just in different areas, people come up to us or me and Tyler and just say, hey, your I Am Second video, it really resonated with my family and me and my wife. And we're in a similar situation where I'm traveling a lot and my wife is struggling at home because she's changing diapers all day long, and I get to do all these really cool things while she's kind of more in the trenches. But yeah, so I know I've seen the fruit that's come from it, and so I know that I feel good that we did that video. But yeah, it was scary. I just kind of dove into it head first, being like, all right, here we go, God. Like, I don't know if I hope you use this for your glory, because that's really all that I cared about.
Yeah. And I know y'all can attest to seeing that video and in your own lives.
Yeah. It was a wonderful video. It was obviously very well done. It's I Am Second. They do a great job.
Yeah, they're very good at what they
it
do.
was definitely impactful, at least for me. Like, my husband's gone probably 80-90% of the time.
Wow.
And so...
And in fun places.
Yeah, like he just went to New Zealand
Yeah.
and did all the hunting things. So that same trip that you guys were on and the guys
Yeah,
did all the
he did
animals,
that.
my husband just did that. I was like, hey, they took their wives.
Yeah,
Why didn't I get to go?
Well, yeah, and I think it's hard because you're navigating, because you have 3 boys.
I have two girls.
2 girls. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you have to navigate childcare and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So it's really hard. So I got the opportunity to meet Addie Camp, Jeremy Camp's wife, and she's from South Africa
Yes,
too.
yeah.
And she really was the one that, like, she probably doesn't even know that she impacted me this way, but she was like, you being at home in the trenches with your kids allows your husband to do the ministry that he's doing.
Absolutely.
And so I hadn't really thought about it that way, because I was kind of being selfish, and I was like, he gets to do all these fun things. I'm just sitting at home changing diapers and but then I really got to see the other side of it, where, like, if I wasn't doing what I was doing, then he wouldn't be able to go and do these tours where they are sharing the gospel at the end of them. And, like, you know, just the stories that I don't even know about. So, because she has a similar story where, you know, she's watching her husband go on stage and sing, and that's her passion too. And so she's like, I kind of just had to take a step back and realize I'm kind of catapulting him to where he can go. And we wouldn't be able to do what we're doing unless I was at home with the kids in the trenches. And so kind of putting on that role is like with pride instead of it being like resentment, which I did for a lot of years. I had a lot of resentment for the travel they did and how much time they were gone. And
How did you transition out of that? Because I think just resentment in general, whatever situation, you can get stuck in real easily.
Therapy.
So yeah,
like talking to someone.
Give us some tips.
Yeah,
that you
going to
learned.
therapy and just talking to someone about it that is non-biased. And because, you know, you can call your mom, but like they're going to champion for you and defend you. And like, so are your best friends. So going,
We love you, moms.
Yeah, we
and
love
best
you,
friends.
moms. But yeah, but going to somebody who's kind of like non-biased and can just hear your heart and give you some tangible like advice on it. And just even just like talking about it openly and not kind of bottling it up inside, I think is super important too. But because that's part of our I Am Second video is I feel like we let that seed of resentment kind of build in our marriage. And so then it just kind of, we came to a point where it just blew up, which can happen a lot. But so yeah, it was, we're not perfect. I still go to therapy, but I think it's just, I think like reaching out and getting some tools in your tool belt and having community helps too. Having a good church community and just a good women's group for me has been huge.
And I know you mentioned your kids are the oldest, so you're able to help. Well, one, you have more flexibility in homeschooling, and then able to talk to some of the newer moms. What's that been like for you? And obviously, you wrote a book, and let's talk about all the things.
Well, I just remember like years ago when one of the twins were getting married, their wife was like, hey, so how is this for you when they travel? And do you build that resentment? And I mean, I had told her at the time, like, I had to learn the hard way not to build resentment. And the Lord has just told me time and again, like, you know, the guys are on stage and they're in front of a camera and they've got a gazillion likes and views and comments and feedback, and everyone's like pro dude perfect. But no one is doing that for me. But the Lord sees me, and that has to be enough. And
Can you talk even deeper into that? Because hearing the Lord say that, we can get accustomed to hearing that, especially if you've grown up in church, that you're enough. And it's like, okay, I'm enough. But how did you get past the but part of, the frustration?
I mean, I think it's just a heart position that like there really can't be a but.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That like the Lord sees me, period. And that is enough. And it's not in my own strength. It's not because I like slayed today, kept these kids fed with all the healthy food. We shopped organic, we paid the bills, we did the, it's just, my checklist was like not fulfilling. Does that make sense? And so it's just that heart posture of like humility before the Lord. And like Bethany was saying, well, this is what God has called us to. And who am I to feel like, well, I deserve to be out there. I deserve to be da-da-da. So, over time, I think it's just the Holy Spirit's work in our own lives. And then just having the other wives to, we get together for dinners when they're out of town, or, just, hey, did y'all see that, they got to do this? And the kind of the behind the scenes of like, okay, we get it. Like, I'm not alone in this.
Right.
And then I think
that in itself, women, I'm really blessed with really good friends. I haven't really had a lot of drama in my life with friendships, but a lot of girls I hear a lot of people do. And so it's cool that y'all don't.
Yeah.
And yeah, well, maybe y'all do. I don't know.
No, we really don't.
We really don't have time for it.
Truly, we don't have time.
truly.
It's just even, no.
Yeah. Oh, there's 15 kids in between all of y'all.
Yeah.
When y'all get together, is it mass chaos or is it actually really comforting? Because you're just like, okay, go play.
Yeah.
Go have fun.
Yeah, we always say they're like little DP cousins because they're not together all the time, but when they're together, it's like they just kind of pick up where they left off, which is really sweet.
I know that when our children get together, other people looking at us, my children will go off and say Auntie Christine, or her children will say Auntie Nicole. And then a couple of hours later, they're like, oh, so you're sisters? We're like, no, they're just cousins because we have this friendship.
Yeah.
But that's intentional. You have to work at that. And especially bringing new people in, not everybody does click that way. So I think that's really important. Can we talk about that a little bit, just for the girl that's having a hard time with maybe in a season, whether it's in a ministry season or their husband's in whatever industry, but like how to be a friend, make a friend at our age.
I think you just have to dive in head first. You have to, even if it's uncomfortable, even if you feel like I don't know anybody in this setting, you have to go to that Bible study, that mom's Bible study, whatever it is. Like, get involved in a play group that goes to the park once a week. It's just diving in and kind of leaving behind your insecurities, or being intentional. Like, if no one's reaching out to you, be the person to reach out. Don't just constantly wait. Okay, I'm gonna wait till my friend calls me, or I'm gonna wait till I get asked to do this. You kind of have to just be the person that does it. And that's why I'm so thankful that we try and get together at least like once every couple months. And we'll spend 4 hours together, to the point where Tyler's like, hello, are you coming home? Like, no. Are you on the side of the street somewhere abandoned? Yeah. Like, where are you? But yeah, just having that community wherever, in the community, in the space that you're into, that's why I talk a lot about my mom's Bible study, because we just sit down, and sometimes we don't even talk about the Bible study we're doing. We just talk about life and motherhood and the challenges we've had that week. And it's just good to bounce things off of each other. And so we do that when we get together. I recently was like, hey, I'm having an issue with this in my life. Like, can y'all speak into that? And they did, and they gave me like godly advice, and they do get our circumstance from a different perspective. So it is so amazing and unique that we do have this kind of unique friend group within the wives.
And I feel like there's something even extra special when you have those friends that are praying for you.
Yeah.
That see your heart and know that they're coming from a perspective where they have God like alive in their lives, their daily life.
Yeah, when all of our marriage stuff kind of happened in October of 2020, all the wives were at our door within days. Just like, how let's pray over you. Like, what can we do? Like ground zero friends that show up, even when it may be awkward to show up, and they did. So yeah,
that's so important. I don't know if it was in a book or also in therapy, but I heard a saying one time about having the friends that pray for you like you pray for yourself, because we can pray for ourselves a lot, and not everybody goes into intercession, we'll call it, for you. But and in asking for advice and opening up to the people that spend that much time or that much effort, it's just so important. It's rare. But we're all so lucky to have that. So I know I want to kind of talk about an element, which is cool to be here with all of y'all, that like your kids love Do Perfect. So them giving up their husbands to go out is blessing your kids and your moms that have the fruit of that. So I kind of want to talk about that, because you have that right in front of you, someone to say like,
It's a part of our Saturday morning routine when a new video hits YouTube.
Yes.
it's just a sweet family gathering. Like we know, my boys know that we get up on a Saturday, we have breakfast together, and then we all go watch the new video together because that's part of their thing. They just absolutely love it. And it's just so important that our boys have good role models that are seeking the Lord. And it just speaks to them. You know, I heard once about if you involve your children with other adults that want to parent similar to you. I kind of look at it a little bit like that. They're not just they are goofy guys doing fun things on the internet, but we know as parents what their heart is in the background, and that comes across. And so I love my boys watching that because we know their heart behind it.
And it's beautiful to see the Lord work in y'all's lives and their lives and the show's lives. I mean, obviously, if God's hand wasn't on Dude Perfect, it probably wouldn't have the notoriety that it has today. Yeah. And so it's really wonderful to see. And I love that we can turn on the Dude Perfect YouTube channel and that it's safe. I know my kids aren't going to hear anything, outrageous. I'm not going to be like, what?
Yeah.
However, you want to be like, don't do that at home.
Yeah, don't be the rage monster.
Jumping off the roof.
Turn it down. I'm tired of yelling.
It's so true.
Yes. Another question that I wanted to ask you too. Okay, so at the beginning of everything, obviously you guys didn't have the big Dude Perfect studio. Whose house got destroyed the most in all the videos?
Gosh.
Probably not Garrett's because he's a clean.
Yeah, they don't really. Yeah.
They know.
They wouldn't even ask.
They would, and if they do, like they're there with vacuums, dust busters, because he's the cleanest.
He like provides it.
Yeah.
We can do it, but here's
He's DP dad for sure.
Yeah, he's a dad.
I feel like they had their smaller space pretty early on. That they got to destroy before they really built it up into the thing. But I think that to date, our poor editor, Chad's house, he's been so gracious.
Get it all.
He's been so gracious and being like, "Here's my home." So
and we just destroy it. And
I think they build it back, but then he opens the door again.
He's a good sport. For sure.
That's funny.
Now, do y'all ever have wife competitions? Who can throw the farthest, the fastest?
No.
No.
I feel like that would be a great
That could be really funny. I know. I'm just saying.
It would be entertaining. That's for sure.
We could
Yeah.
It would definitely be.
But not in the ways that we would want it to be
No,
entertaining.
it would
be
more
a laugh at you, not laugh with you
Fun on the
situation.
hill. Go get them.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about books and cookies. So let's talk about how this book came about, and are you going to write more books? And
So, it was probably, 5 years ago, I was sitting in the backyard while the kids were playing, and literally it was all but the audible voice of the Lord telling me, like Tyler's page. Like, literally, it was just rolling into my head, Jack of all trades. And I was like, what in the world? What is this? I'm going to go get a pen. And so I just started writing. And then, just never set out to be an author, never wanted to have my name on a book or anything like that. But I couldn't stop what was coming to mind. So I just wrote out just a little children's goodnight book. That was our world at the time. We're reading board books with the kids every night. Good night, Texas. Good night, Moon. Good night, everything. And so it just felt right to have our kids read something about Daddy's office and Daddy's colleagues and what Daddy does. And so I promised myself that I would finish it just so that my kids could have it, whether that meant I went in on Word and typed it up and Garrett could sketch something, never thought it would be what it is. And so, then I put it on pause for about 1.5 years, maybe even 2 years, and then told Corey, who who kind of headed the project, the Go Big book, and he was the one that really pushed me to the finish line and helped me kind of launch it into the world. So.
all about timing.
Amazing.
And all in God's timing.
I remember you coming to me with your phone and being like, "Hey, I wrote this. Can you just look at it?" And I'm like, "How did your brain?" It's talent for sure.
Well, she's the biggest cheerleader. Without Bethany, I would feel like this book is
No, it's amazing.
And are there more to come? Good morning, good afternoon.
As of now, I have no plans of writing, just like I had no plans of writing the first one. So we'll see what the Lord does. If I'm called to write a book, I'll write the book. But
Like, I will set up a tent at the shows, and we'll sell them, and like we'll promote you. Like, let's do it.
yeah.
Okay, well, so at the tent there would be cookies.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So let's talk about that. And
Yeah,
do you have
cookies.
a favorite? Is it hard not to eat the cookie dough? That would be my issue.
Yeah, so it's those. So it's not just like chocolate chip cookies, although those are my favorite. It is those decorated royal icing.
They're
really
works of
intricate
art.
Yes.
For
Like
We've tried it.
Yeah.
They do not. They did not.
We're really
do
bad at
anything
it.
Like yours.
it is.
I don't want us to
I can tell you that right now.
It's hard. You definitely. I mean, it takes about 8 hours from making the dough to packaging, so it's definitely not worth the money, I would say. But it's more of just for my creative outlet. But yeah, it's called the cookie dough, DOE.
Love that.
Because Tyler's a big hunter, and we have land where there's deer, and so I thought my mom actually came up with the name because I just put it out there one day. I was like, hey, I'm gonna do these Easter cookies. I put it on my Facebook. I walked away from my Facebook all day, and I got back that night and looked at it, and I had like 80 orders, and I was like, okay.
You're like, oh, now I have to do that.
We have to like really dive into this. So my mom was like, okay, get a name, and now I have a cookie studio in my house. Because I can't do anything small. It has to just be.
Yeah.
I don't know Enneagrams. I'm a 7, so like I go hard on all my
Fun.
activities.
I'm a 7 too.
Yeah.
Get it.
So this has been the longest fixation for sure, because I've been doing it since Barrett was born. So like 6-7 years now. I've definitely taken a step back from it just as my kids get older. You know, they don't nap anymore.
Right.
So I'm having.
Well, and you have sports.
Yeah, so life
your time
has
is taken
changed
up.
for sure because I would work on my cookies during nap time or late at night, and so now I take on a lot less orders, and it's not as big of a thing as it was. But
Well, that was going to be a question because as we wrap up, can we share where people go to?
you know, they will probably find it. But yeah,
Out of your mouth. I don't want to send a whole business of people to you.
Probably right now it's like family, friends at the moment, just because time is so precious and limited right now with my littles. But not that it wasn't when they were newborn.
If they want to try, do you have a good, like a referral person
I do.
or a referral recipe?
For sure. If you want to get into the cookie world, Sweet Sugar Belle is her name, and that's where I got my royal icing recipe from. Her products are in Hobby Lobby. She's a great like launching pad.
Sweet Sugar Belle.
Yep.
Okay, for cookies. And then where can everyone find your book?
They can go to Amazon or Target.
Oh.
Or also the Dude Perfect store. I should have started there probably.
Well, this is about y'all though, so it's fine. Okay. People are going to want to connect personally. So I know that you're not the biggest social media person.
That is true.
But if they want to connect with you, if they want to write to you, if they have questions, where will people go to find y'all?
My Instagram is at Bethany Toney.
Okay.
And I sometimes check my DMs, not all the time. I will pivot a little bit when you were talking about just the impact and that other moms see. I get so many amazing DMs from moms just thanking us for, hey, thank you so much for sacrificing your husband so that my kids can go to this event and we can go as a family and make this memory as a family while you're at home with the kiddos. And I don't get to respond to a lot of those, but I see them and they are the biggest encouragement to me because I'm like, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. This is why I champion Tyler on to do what he's doing, because I feel bad. I feel like I can't respond to everyone, but
Well, it's a double-edged sword of social media, right?
yeah, man.
We want to put ourselves out there. We hope we're making an impact. So when we do get that validated, it's great.
Yeah, it is good.
Yeah.
It's very encouraging.
Yeah.
To see those. But yeah, at Bethany Toney.
And if
I
she
don't get
doesn't
on
respond, don't get
Facebook.
offended,
Yeah,
but
don't
you're
get
blessing her,
offended.
so send all the messages.
Instagram's definitely where I'm at the most. Facebook, not so much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that.
I mean, I'm just going to give out my email address.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah. No pressure though.
I mean, it's that or snail mail, and I'm not doing that.
I'm not.
I think it's just, there was just so much noise and just so many, just competition for time. And, I personally felt convicted just to take a step back, completely from social media about 5 years ago, and I've just been blessed with more time and clarity.
You're probably
and
better off for it.
when I see the girls, I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't know he was walking. And they're like, yeah, we've had like 30 Facebook videos or Instagram videos that I've never seen, but it's fun to get those real-time updates. So alternatively, you could reach me at press@dudeperfect.com, but that's no fun. But
Yeah, no, that's great. That's perfect.
we'll stick with that.
We'll have that. Absolutely. Well, I am so excited that y'all came, and this has been so special, and I'm so glad to have y'all as co-hosts. Can you leave our moms and wives with just your top nugget of wisdom?
Oh, gosh. Okay.
For the hardest of times? Their husbands are gone. Maybe they're stuck in resentment, slowly getting resentful. Something for that.
Okay.
I think that, like, for me, it's always going to come back to scripture, and just like that is the ultimate source of truth, and that is unchanging. It is not going anywhere. And it is the true, like, anchor that we can sink into. And so, kind of one of my life verses is Psalm 23:1. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. And again, it just kind of puts me in that humble heart place of, okay, like, God has gone before me. He's with me. He's beside me. He provides everything I need. And so, I mean, continue reading through that psalm. He restores our soul. He, well, because of him, like, we get to dwell in goodness and mercy. And so, I know we sometimes are wanting like that quick fix, or that like, okay, do this and then, but for me, it's just always been about like the heart posture and just trusting on the Lord. And so I find a lot of encouragement in scripture.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I second that. And, also for me, community's been huge. I mentioned that. It's just been, it's life-giving. It's, I'm a people person, so I thrive in those situations. So yeah, I think just finding a good Christian community where you can be poured into. I love our Bible study that we do. It kind of forces you into the Word every single day, because you know you're going to be held accountable for it once a week. And scripture memory has been huge lately for me. And so yeah, I think just, I second what you say. I think that's huge. It's not a quick fix. I think it's realizing that everything's a season too. You may feel like, man, I'm in a really dark spot right now, and I don't see myself ever coming out of this, and every day feels daunting. And I've felt that way before, but knowing, like, but if I could have seen where God was going to take me from that really dark moment to where I am now, I mean, I would almost do the dark moment again, like, just to be where I am now.
That's so
spiritually and in all aspects. So
that's awesome.
So yeah, it's just, hard times will always get better. There's always a light at the end of the tunnel. So.
Well, and the community aspect is why this show started, was we're all in the middle of something. Jesus is in the middle with us, and we need each other in the middle too. So, well, thank you so much for watching. And again, we are just so grateful y'all have been here. I love having y'all as co-hosts today. And just remember, there's always
Laughter,
hope, and belonging in the middle. See you next time.